question was posed first to me by my mentor, Mike Lorenzen. He asked, what do you think it was that you had within you that made you make the choice to keep going, not turn to the destructive behaviors that ACEs, which is basically a fancy name for childhood traumas, how they point to the more you have, the more destructive behaviors you develop in adulthood. What has kept you going and what has allowed you to essentially quote unquote choose the light, in your situations? And I was sitting here thinking, and I can't really come up with anything that kind of encompasses that more than me being instilled with a deep sense of knowing I was more than my experiences, and knowing that I have been created by something that exceeds this form, something that is beyond and greater than myself. I remember learning very early in church that, we are all children of God, and I took that very literally, in the sense that if I am your child, if I am of you, then I am more than just this form and this experience. And no matter what, if I can remember that I am more, then I can make it through. I did experience, like, most of my first memories, my earliest memories were like of rape and molestation and death even. But I always had a sense that I was greater than this. And then when I had my sisters, there was a why connected to that knowing that made it not only important but necessary for me to rise up and choose that higher self, because I knew they were watching at the end of the day. At my lowest point, at my most depressed and suicidal point, one of my favorite cousins, asked me, what would Akela and Shalini and Kalia do? What would your sisters do? And that's what it took. That's all it took. I was still in that state for, a few years after, but that definitely marked my process of really intentionally seeking a way to make sure I knew who I was, why I'm here, and why it's so important to be this person, not only for them, but most importantly for myself. Define all those things for myself so I could set standards and, start moving towards that person on a consistent basis. I would not be alive without a why that was bigger than myself. Most of us have found a way to connect ourselves to something that is greater than ourselves through religion. But I know I personally never connected with religion as deeply as I have connected with spirituality, like my own understanding of what God or source or whatever you believe is that underlying power that connects us all. Spirituality is what did that for me. Spirituality is what really made that bond and that relationship personal for me. Religion felt suffocating. Like when I remember first thinking about what I was being taught was God, and it always didn't really connect with what I in my child form had experienced as God or source or the universe. What I felt was more love than the fear that I feel like was being taught to me. And so when I discovered there was a way to say I love and appreciate and I'm grateful to be connected to this thing, to be birthed from this thing, out of this thing, to be an expression of this thing, spirituality is really what did that for me. And so as I explored religion more in the respects of spirituality, that's when I started feeling closest to God, you know. Remember, I'd probably just been molested one night, and there were tears streaming down my little chubby cheeks, and I'm looking up out the window. I remember seeing the moon, and thinking, is my life always gonna be like this? And I don't know if I heard a voice, felt a voice, or just felt a calm, but whatever it was that I experienced in that moment, it confirmed to me that no, my life was not always going to be this, and that's all I needed. You know, it was the confirmation I needed in that moment to always choose to be more. When I lived the life I felt like I was supposed to, and things kept not working out after so many years and so much dedication and so much time and blood, sweat, and tears, literal blood, sweat, and tears from gymnastics. I had to come to terms with letting go of how I was going to fulfill this power, this drive, this vision, this intention for my life that I had just kind of innately known my entire life. I had to let go of how that was going to unfold. And so at that point, I decided I was going to do everything that I hadn't been able to do because I'd been pouring myself into gymnastics. And so, you know, that kind of brought me from gymnastics to coaching, to modeling, to, you know, doing more of my art, to doing more of my writing. And now that I am no longer trying to see if I can, now that I have transitioned into a space of like, no, now this is who I am, this is what I do, and I'm doing it. I've had to really just work hard at being present in the manifestation of all this energy that I've put into being this person, like enjoying it more and breathing through it more and just being this person. I am my dreams now. And so now that I'm like actively living this life that I prayed for and moving clearly towards this even greater version, being present has almost become such a task because my whole life felt like preparation. You didn't put in all that work. not enjoy the process. Once you feel really connected to God or Source, and you know that you are living the life you're meant to, make sure you're taking the time to be appreciative and grateful for each moment, because